Hi there, welcome back to Action Football Sundays for another one of my ramblings here about action PC football strategy and what works and what doesn't. I'm not necessarily that new to this game, but I am definitely new to playing this game seriously and not just sort of choosing a bunch of plays and kind of laughing about it and letting the computer do what it does best. And so let's go take a quick look over here at our game. This is not the season that we normally play with, by the way. This is the 2021 season. I chose the most recent season because I know that the ratings and all of this stuff are going to be a little bit more accurate than they likely would for an older season. And so we look here, let's look at the Buffalo Bills, who had probably the best defense in the 2021 season. Giving up only 289 points with another one of those heartbreaking losses in the playoffs. Boy, we love teams like that with the heartbreak, don't we? And we go look at this team. If we want to figure out if it makes sense to blitz or not, I think there's a couple of different ways for places for us to look, including things like the not the rusher ratings. This is your defensive line. They better be good at rushing. Potentially looking here at rush ratings for your linebackers and your defensive backs. And you can also double click on players and get a good look at them. So Jordan Poyer, for example, pops right up, and you can see this really not very good, not very high quality photo of him that pops up here. You can look at some of his statistics, although like DEF, I have no idea what statistic that refers to, his number of tackles, sacks, and so on. And over here in his ratings, you can see a couple of other ratings for him. But here, this is, I think, really what we want to look at. Now, the game, as I understand, will automatically put in the right defenders in the right situation. If you're thinking about blitzing with him, though, I think you probably want to look a little bit more at the pass rush rating. I've been looking all over the place here to see if I could find a rating for blitzing for individual players, and I've been unable to find it. If you know where it is, let me know down in the comments. That'd be good to know. Interesting here that when you start this game, the game, especially in newer seasons, comes with this sort of game plan that's already created for you, which is also very helpful, by the way, because as you're changing formations over time, I believe that the computer will help you make sure that your players are fresh so you don't have to do all of your substitutions yourself. Otherwise, this game can be a little bit crazy. We want to go here quickly to that play analysis tool, and let's select Buffalo. I don't know anything about this team. I haven't looked into them much at all. Let's see if we can choose a very good offensive team, probably the Dallas Cowboys. And so we'll look here for Dallas, and let's see what sort of impact a blitz will have. So let's say that they have one of these 4 wide receiver, 1 tight end type of setups, and that they're planning on probably like trips on one side and running it out of the pistol like everybody runs it. And you can see here that when they're looking to, to gallop, these are what our completion rates look like. And now, I mean, if they have 4 4 wide receivers and a tight end, we're probably going to be looking at some sort of like a dime coverage. You can see right away, by the way, that nickel coverage or the dime coverage, you can see those completion rates change and go down drastically as we increase the number of defensive backs that we have. I like having 2 zone defensive backs, but we could do it with 1. We can do it with tighter man coverage, which would stop a lot of these passes from being complete, although it does increase the chances of a long pass being complete. And then, of course, if we know that they're going to pass along, we can always play loose man, take away a lot of these long passes, but we will be in trouble if they have a little quick short pass. We'll just keep it there at man, though, and sort of see what happens as we have different blitzers come up. So we were talking about Poyer. If we blitz with Poyer, now we take it off and we compare it to putting it back on, we can see here that we take away chances of some of these passes, especially longer passes, for succeeding, right? And it's obvious because you're putting the quarterback under a lot of pressure. Prescott needs to not have so much pressure to have success with a problem, and it also takes away a little bit of the screen pass because you got another guy there running in through the box to make a difference. But the problem, as you can see, is that you're giving up yardage on short passes, and it's possible that they get a little short pass over the blitz and are able to really bring the game to you and gain quite a few yards. That's one of the things you have to watch out with when you blitz. Doesn't really matter who you blitz with, you always run into the same problem. If you blitz with two guys, the problem becomes even more extreme. And if you do something really foolish, like bring both safeties in and a linebacker in on a blitz, you're just opening up and inviting the team to get a little short pass off. You can do it. And you'll notice here too, right, that the zone defensive backs changes because you don't have any defensive backs left to play in the zone. Remember, they have 4 wideouts and a tight end that you have to cover. You can keep throwing on blitzers all you want. It will have marginal difference and a marginal change. Now, I was reading on the forums where one of the posters said that there are a lot of people when they're playing this game, especially multiplayer, who kind of like to see those sack ratings and like to see the sack come up. The problem, though, with doing this and with blitzing aggressively on like every down is that you leave yourself wide open. So, yeah, maybe you get a couple more sacks, for your linebackers or for your safeties or whatever. But if you're going to give up more often than not, a like 50-yard pass, you might not want to do it. And because these short passes that are coming up where we're talking about, let's look back at this again. These short passes, as you can see here, the short cross and short slant and stuff like that. Look at the average yardage for each of those passes. Now, even if you're playing in the pass defense, maybe the average yardage will go down, but you still have a high chance of giving up the pass itself. Whereas if you decide not to blitz and you're holding your guys back a little bit, maybe you're not so likely to even give up a completed pass. Depends on what you want to do. And of course, the reason why I like the cover 2 in the back when we're playing man is because you can see that that makes it even less likely the pass will even be complete in the first place. That's a good way, in my opinion, to shut down the opponent's offensive strategy. This is one of the reasons why, personally, when I'm playing myself, I don't really tend to blitz that much. I'm much more conservative and worry more about giving up those passes in the back. Having said that, I do think it's important to blitz and probably blitz more than I've been doing up to this point because in addition to having guys playing in the back, we do want to put some pressure here, for example, on Prescott. Now we can try different things too. We can play in the zone instead of playing man. You can see that when we play in the zone, the completion percentages go up significantly. That's not a rule of thumb. Right, that depends upon the team that you're using, and that depends upon how good they are at zone defense. It may just be in this case that Buffalo's the Buffalo's corners and their linebackers are much better than the wide receivers for Dallas that they're covering. I don't know. This depends upon what how the game is programmed and how things have been set up. It's possible that if we change here, say to a 2-4, that things change. Actually, it looks like it's better for the offense. If we go over to the 4-2 nickel, it doesn't change much. You can play around with this, when you're in the game and trying to figure out what the right thing is to do. And then when we start adding on blitzers coming out of the zone, you can see that with the zone and with these blitzers, the possibility of the short pass just goes up and up. And so, showing coverage here, of course, makes no difference at all, especially since we're not in man at all. But these are, at least the way that I think of it, generally ways to try to get the computer to make a different decision and try to get them off of their game. Now, one more thing I want to look at here. Let's say that instead of playing like this, let's just say that they're in a slightly more conventional setup these days. This is probably a little bit more what things are going to be like for you, right? So you have... I don't know, maybe you can't do I formation with that. It says split backs with one running back. So I guess that's sort of your equivalent of having sort of the one running back there to the side of the quarterback. They have a little bit more conventional formation, and let's just take a look and say that they're going to run and see what impact perhaps blitzing might have. And as you can see, blitzing maybe 2 guys from the back will drastically reduce the chances of a run being successful. Even if we're playing in zone coverage, maybe we have a little bit more chance of a successful run, but not so much. That's another important thing to think about, because if you're like me, growing up, I always thought of the blitz as sort of a defense that is designed to stop the pass. But the reality is that the blitz defense can also be very, very effective against a run. And what we will see later on as we continue with these videos is the impact that blitzing can have, or certain very specialized defenses can have on both running and passing. We look at things like the infamous 4-6 defense and how it can be used with the right personnel, of course, to completely shut down your split back, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back formation that you see so much in the 70s and 80s. So anyway, there you have it. It's a real quick look at blitzing, the impact that blitzing has, and sort of how to figure it out in game. As for me right now, since we're still early on, I'm going to continue to use the auto blitz option, although there are times where, such as in that last Cleveland Browns game, where I think that auto blitzing is a little bit silly, and instead of letting their running back have these 10 and 11-yard gains, we probably should have left the linebacker back and just rushed 3 and make them beat us. But that sort of depends upon what your strategy is. Let me know what your strategy is down below in the comments. If you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe. As always, we have one game video every Sunday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time, and then these come out Wednesday evenings at 8 o'clock p.m. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.